This Ferrari FXXK Evo is absolutely amazing, dude. I love the style, love the design. It is car 132 out of 132. I'm assuming it's probably going to be the most expensive. It is unlocked by reaching rep level 50 in your crew. We are almost there and going to have probably one of the most expensive cars in the game. But did y'all know that these expensive cars, we're talking Ferrari, Lambo, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, these specific 5 manufacturers of automobiles, 40% of this entire 132. Now that's a lot of sweet cars. That's a lot of expensive cars. Now I know a lot of people love these expensive cars, but it feels like they're missing a lot of the other, I don't know, regular cars. The cars that you would see on the street every day. Cars that you might have grew up loving and wanted to change and modify and customize. Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about 10 cars or 10 types of cars or 10 models of cars that I would love to see in this game. And well, besides for the first one is just a group of cars, but the other 9 are specific models of cars that I really think they're missing. Now, obviously, in the future, we could get some DLCs. We could get some cars put into the game. Hopefully, we get some extra customization options and things like that for these types of cars. But most of them are going to be just regular cars. Some are iconic. Some are cars that I loved when I was younger. Some are cars in movies that, you know, have to do with speed and racing and things like that. So if you enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. These are cars that I personally have ties to, cars that I love. Of course, they're not going to be everybody's favorite. Some of these are somewhat similar to other cars already in the game, either the manufacturer or maybe a earlier model, etc. But just for specific reasons, either that I loved them or that they're iconic, I think they should be in the game. Y'all have to let me know in the comments. What did I leave out? What cars do y'all want to see, hopefully in the future, maybe in DLCs? Starting this list off, number 10, we're going to talk about just a group of cars, and that is pretty much any Formula 1 race car. Now, of course, with this story, you're a street racer. You know, you race on the street, you race in the dirt, you race, you know, drifting and things like that. And that might not necessarily apply to the particular story, but tell me that wouldn't be absolutely awesome. Formula 1 obviously is a race, and it is on, you know, pavement, and so for some particular races that would be awesome. It's been in other race type games. I remember Gran Turismo, you know, 15 years ago, having F1 cars and going in those races when all the other cars were regular cars. I just think it'd be really fun to throw in some F1, change it up. Obviously, you're not going to do it on the drift, you know, drift racing. You're not going to do it, you know, off-road and things like that, but regular pavement racing. Number 9, we got the 93 to 98 Toyota Supra 2JZ twin turbo inline 6. This is like 330 horsepower or so. I think a lot of people would probably remember this. Fast and the Furious from the movie. Yeah, it was in there, and they made it look absolutely amazing. All the different modifications that you can do to it, the different engine types, it was great. Really good looking car, and when I was in school, a couple of my friends had these, and yeah, we loved to take them out, to the track, loved to work on them, soup them up. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. I really miss playing with these types of cars, and all of these in 1 through 9 are going to be a particular either body style, and they're obviously going to have different engines just depending on which model you get. And so that's right, part of the process of modifying the car. Engine swaps and all the different things that you can do to it. But yeah, number 9, the Supra. Number 8, the 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. Now, I know some of you are going to be looking at this car and being like, Sonny, why in the hell is this ugly ass thing on the screen? Well, I tell you, for some of us, this is kind of an iconic car because this is actually, or this car, this model, was in a show called Knight Rider. This car was called KITT, the Knight Industries 2000. And when I was a kid, I actually had this little model KITT car, and I used to take that thing everywhere. I loved the Pontiac Trans Am when I was younger, and I think this game can use some of these iconic cars where you have like the old the KITT modification kit to where it actually makes it look like the car from the TV show. I think that would be so much fun. The car, if you've never seen the show, heard of the show or whatever, it was a talking car, basically. The car would talk to the driver, and David Hasselhoff would be like, he was the driver, and he would, and he would go out and do a bunch of stuff, and it was just really cool. I mean, the car would talk to him. This was in the way early 80s, and it was just a really good looking car. I loved all the modifications to it. It was so much fun, having that little toy car with me everywhere. They need to put this one in there. Next up, we got the 2016-2019 Cadillac CTS-V. Now, this is a luxury car, yes, I know, and kind of fits along the lines of, say, like the BMW or something like that. Not a car that you're going to see every day on the street, or maybe you've never even seen one, period. But the reason why I wanted to put this one in there, not only because, yeah, I like the car. I've only been in one time on a ride with somebody, and it was amazing. But the reason why I wanted to put it in here, because this car actually has the Corvette 6.2 liter LT4 supercharged engine in it, almost 650 horsepower. For a luxury car, that is awesome, dude. That's amazing. Like, it just looks like your regular, I don't want to say like mom car or anything like that, but just a regular luxury car. Nothing that would be absolutely crazy, but 650 horsepower. And I tell you, on the inside, it's all luxuried out, right? It looks so nice, so elegant and fancy, and the engine is an absolute monster. It would be fun. Number 6, we got the 1997 Chevy Camaro Super Sport. Now, this one is more like a personal tie to me, because when I was younger, I was on my second Mustang, and one of my friends had one of these 97 Chevy Camaro Super Sports. Now, this is the 30th anniversary edition with the orange stripes, the white with the orange stripes. The seats were all white, had like 30th anniversary engravings in it, and yeah, this car was absolutely amazing. You could almost probably put in the 30th anniversary Firebird in this as well. I think for that one, it's like, I think it's 97. And so, not 97, 99. I think the 30th for the Firebird was 99, and then the 30th for the Camaro is 97. But both of those kind of very similar in body style, body shape, like a wedge of cheese type of thing. But both of those cars, this particular one though, Camaro, the white one with the orange stripes, the 30th anniversary edition. I think one of my favorite parts about this car too was the T-tops that it had. The T-tops were so much fun. We used to take this thing down to the beach, and we would just ride up and down the strip with the T-tops off, standing up. We'd have two people in the back, one person on the passenger side, and we'd be standing up, hanging outside the T-tops, just yelling and doing all sorts. It was a lot of fun. Number 5, we're looking at the 1981 to 1983 DMC DeLorean. And if you're looking at this thing and are like, what in the hell is this car, and don't know what it is, I'm seriously gonna question your childhood, because as far as I'm concerned, this is probably one of the most iconic cars in American history, at least in my generation, right? Obviously, I wasn't around in the 70s, 60s, 50s, and all that crap. But at least as far as my generation and my lifetime, this is probably the most iconic car. But if you've never seen this, if you're maybe, I don't know, too young to even know what this is, or never watched older movies, this is the car from Back to the Future. This is the one they used to travel back to the 60s, and the one they used to travel back to the Wild West. And Man, it was so much fun. Maybe even have like some sort of modifier on it to where it would drive like twice as fast on train tracks. Tell me that wouldn't be super cool. Have the modifications to it where it had all the boosters and all the things around it, the dashboard on the inside, the doors that come up. Yo, this would be awesome. Throw in the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Then we got the 2004 to 2006 Pontiac GTO, and I think this is one of the first cars that I could remember thinking, man, that looks like a regular car, but the thing is fast as shit. It almost reminds me of like a poor man's Cadillac CTS-V, right? Where it just looks like a normal car, like that anybody would drive in your family. But when you hit that gas pedal, man, that thing just absolutely smashes, hauls ass. It does have the LS2 V8. It's like 400 horsepower, kind of smaller looking car, right? And I could almost even throw in this time frame, the Pontiac G8 and the Pontiac G6, which is a little slower, obviously. The G8 had the V8. I actually think they had a G8 that had this same exact engine in it with the 400 horsepower. And then the G6 had the V6 in it. But anyways, Pontiac GTO, just your regular normal car. There was a lot of people back in there, like in the top right, that used it for like drifting and things like that. Thing had monster horsepower, 400 horsepower, kind of small, compact. Only 2 doors. They only made it in a coupe. So really good looking car. I just loved how the interior looked of it, and I love the fact that you would, like, people just slept on it, right? You pull up next to somebody and they're looking at this thing and they're like, man, what, you're gonna try to race me in that normal boring looking car? And then you hit the gas and boom, you're gone. Except obviously it's growling. Number 3, we got the 1994 to 97 Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. Now the top 3 are probably the 3 cars that I wanted to soup up more than anything in the entire world. Now, during this time frame, I had Mustangs. I loved my Mustang. I had that Celine Mustang a little bit before the one that I had during this time period right here, and I loved both of them. Both of them were amazing. I wouldn't trade them for the world, but for whatever reason, I loved the whole idea of just being able to modify not only the body kits and the engine and everything like that, but these next 3 cars just absolutely did it for me. I loved them. Now this one was a all-wheel drive twin turbo V6, and I have seen some of these cars that absolutely tears it up on the track. I mean, some of the loudest, fastest cars I've seen, and I can't even honestly remember the last time I seen a 3000 GT. These things were so good looking. And there's actually another car that was very similar to this as well. It was the Dodge Stealth. The Dodge Stealth RT, I think, was made during about this same exact time frame. Almost looked exactly the same, a little bit different aerodynamically, but basically overall the same exact style. And of course, as you see in the pictures, they made them hardtop and convertible. Yeah, 3000 GT's a winner. At number 2, we're looking at the 1995 to 98 Acura Integra. Now, a lot of people probably know this as the Honda Integra, but either way, the GSR, the Type R, the Spec R, whatever you want to call it, whatever model you had, I love this car. Now, my girlfriend at the time had a Integra that looked almost exactly like the one in the top right. Didn't have anything done to it. It was just a normal, regular, white Type R Integra, and I was in love with that thing. That thing was absolutely amazing. The engine is a little bit smaller. It's like a 1.8 liter dual overhand cam VTEC engine, but you could do so many modifications to this thing. For the VTEC engines, you could do so many things to them to make them so much faster, so many different modifications, so many different body kits and wings and different headlights and hoods and all of this stuff that you could do to these Integras along with the engine modifications was amazing. This is another one as well that was in Fast and the Furious. So I'm purposely choosing those, but when they first made Fast and the Furious, I mean, they were taking a lot of the best street racing cars and putting them into the movies. So they were picking the right ones. And this one is another one. Amazing car. And the number one car missing from Need for Speed Heat, 1995 to 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX or GSR or GST. Doesn't matter which engine, it's just this particular body style. I absolutely love this thing. Probably hands down the only car that I've ever thought to myself, man, that is the one car I wish I had when I was growing up. That is the one car that I would give right now almost anything for. Man, I wish I could get it so bad. And obviously, financially, I would not be financially responsible if I just went out and bought one of these. But man, do I love this thing. I have always loved this car, and this is another one from Fast and the Furious, probably the one that you recognize most, that bottom green, the bottom left one, the green one. That is the one that he drove around all of the time. And yeah, the amount of customization that you can do on this Eclipse hardtop or the convertible Spider, absolutely amazing. There was also another one that looked very, very similar to this one that was called the Eagle Talon. The Eagle Talon TSI, and the GSX was a turbo intercooled all-wheel drive car, and this thing was a monster. You could do so much to this car. Same with it's weird how this particular time frame from around the late 90s, there is so many of these cars that I feel like need to be in Need for Speed that is missing. And this is just another one in which it'd be so much fun, so many customization options, so many different kits, and so many from bumpers and hoods and wings and skirts and all of that's different paint jobs and graphic kits and all of the things that you can do. And the fact engine swaps and the fact that it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, the thing was a monster. I absolutely loved it. I have always loved this car, and still to this day, probably the only car that I can just say, man, I just want to go right. Actually, speaking, I want to go right now. I want to go trade in my car right now and go get one of these Eclipses and start working on it. I love this thing so much. So what do you think of my top 10? Is there any of the vehicles that you think that I left out? Are there any vehicles that you absolutely love that you wish was in this game right now? I mean, we have 132 cars. We don't, at least I am not aware of any future DLCs, any future cars that are coming to the game. I'm really crossing my fingers for these particular 10, well, these 9, and then the F1 cars, some type of F1 car. But they got obviously tons of cars to pick from right now. They got tons of luxury, tons of super fast cars. They got SUVs and trucks and all of that stuff, and all that's super fine and dandy. But I think these 10 cars are essential for a racing game. I mean, we're talking about street racing, we're talking about speed, we're talking about customization, we're talking about iconic cars that pretty much everybody knows about, right? And I think they should be in the game. Hopefully they make it. Y'all have to let me know in the comments again which cars I left out, what y'all think about my top 10, and yeah, that's gonna do it. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see y'all again very soon. I'm still working on the flamingos. I'm still working on the graffiti art. So hopefully I get all those done. And my crew is just about level 50. So hopefully we can get there soon. And I need to increase my rep to 50 so I could do another build, full customization, engine swap, and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'll see y'all again very soon. I am out. Peace.